Okay, this is the Medwaves Avicure microwave coagulation ablation system. It is comprised of three components: the generator, the surgical probe, and the accessory cable. Here we have four different types of probes. These are the two 14-gauge probes. As you can see, they have different lengths. This one is 15 centimeters. This one is 23 centimeters. And both of these have a 4 centimeter antenna length. Here we have the 16-gauge probe, which has a 16-gauge diameter and a 2 centimeter antenna length. And this is the mini antenna with a 6 millimeter antenna length for smaller ablation zones. This is for the setup of the generator. As you can see, this is the back. There are three connections, one for the power, one for the signal cable, and one for the RF cable. To start, you want to connect the power extension cable into here. For the extension cables, you want to find the end that looks like this. Connect the power cable into here and just twist until it stops. And for the signal cable, you want to line up this arrow on top with the top of the connector right here. So you push it in, twist it a little bit until you feel a snug fit, and then twist the securing this part of the cable up here. After you have the cables connected, we're ready to turn on the generator. So first you turn it on in the back. And then you turn on the front switch right here. So the generator will do its self-check procedure. And this is the ready screen. So here, as you can see, the generator will give you the temperature and the time setting. And then this is the temperature input from the probe. So you can adjust both of these using these arrows. When I hit up on here, the temperature increases. Down will decrease the temperature. Here, plus will increase the time, and minus will decrease the time. To get to power control mode, you hit M, and as you can see, the temperature setting has now changed to a power setting. You can adjust this by using up and down as well. So after you figure out which mode you want to be in, you can connect the probe to the cables. Here I'm connecting the temperature cable. It's the same as in the back of the generator. You twist and then secure using this locking mechanism. And for the power cable, you twist until it stops. As you can see, after the temperature cable is connected, the generator will start reading the temperature. So if I increase the temperature on the probe, the temperature increases here.
Okay, go ahead.
Here's an example of a temperature control mode ablation using the microwave system. Here's a guideline that is given to the doctors as a reference for what types of ablation zones to expect. Let's say we want this size zone. For here we want a setting of 110 degrees centigrade at 10-minute ablation using the 14-gauge probe. So here I have the 14-gauge probe, 15 centimeter shaft. And I'm connecting the extension cables. As you can see, the temperature is reading a very high value right now, which signifies the temperature cable being disconnected. Once I connect it, the temperature will start reading from the probe. With the 14-gauge probe, it has a 4 centimeter active antenna. When inserting into the tissue, you want to make sure that the entire antenna goes into the tissue. The temperature setting is at 100 degrees, but we want it at 110. So I will bring it up to 110. And for the time, we wanted 10 minutes, so I will bring this to 600 seconds. Once the settings are in place and the probe is in the tissue, start the ablation using the yellow button. In temperature control mode, the generator will apply full power until the target temperature of 110 degrees is reached. During the ablation, there's another screen that you can monitor by pressing this M button. This screen tells you the forward power being applied, the reverse power coming back along the probe, the operating frequency of the microwave, the temperature of the probe in here, and the time left during the ablation. This yellow light indicates the ablation is on, right here. As you can see, the temperature is reaching the target temperature. Once it reaches that temperature, the power will modulate to keep the temperature at the desired setting. In temperature control mode, if the power drops below 20 watts, the generator will automatically switch to power control mode. Oh. See, now it's in power mode because power is flashing. Before temperature mode, the temperature was flashing.
Again.
In temperature control mode, if the power drops below 20 watts, the generator will automatically switch to power control mode. Right now it's in power control mode because the power is flashing right now. In power control mode, the generator will put out a constant amount of power to regulate the temperature between the set temperature and a 30-degree window. So for this ablation, the temperature was set at 110 degrees. Because it switched over to power mode, the default power is 28 watts. The generator will use 28 watts to bring the temperature up to 110 degrees. Once the temperature is reached, the forward power will stop. And then the temperature will drop down to 80 degrees. Once it reaches 80 degrees, the power will turn on again. Okay. Also in power control mode, when power is not being delivered, the ablation time will not count. So in this case, as the temperature is dropping down to 80, the time of ablation remains at 296 seconds. Once the temperature drops to 80, and the power comes back on, then the timer will start again. In power control mode, this cycle keeps repeating until the total time is up. As you can see, we're getting towards the end of the ablation. After the ablation is completed, the generator will tell you it's completed, and then it will return back to the ready screen. So afterwards, you can just pull out. Here's a sample of the 10-minute ablation using power control mode. This is where the probe was. And as you can see, the size is very comparable to what you were expecting up here.